write an equation of a line given its slope and y-intercept. All right, so write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line with slope -4 and y-intercept 1. So what is slope-intercept? If you didn't know, you could click on this definition. Seeing as I know it is going to give me this equation right here, I'm just going to go ahead and write it out right here. So I have y, helps if I click the pen, I do that almost every time, y equals, and I'm going to leave a little space here because I want to change colors. So I have mx plus, we'll go green for b, so that bright green for b. So you have y equals mx plus b. This is slope-intercept. So the b is your y-intercept. A y-intercept is just when we have our graph like this. So this is our x line, this is our y line. Y-intercept simply means where does the line, if I have a line, where does it cross the y-axis? Where does it intercept it? That's what y-intercept means. Just where does it cross the y line? That's it. All right. And then m stands for slope. So this is always the letter they use for slope. So this is an equation that literally lets you just plug in slope and y-intercept. You don't do anything with y and x because that is how later you can kind of manipulate the numbers a little bit to see what happens. If you plug in x, this is what you get for y, and back and forth. But for right now, y and x are always going to stay y and x for our equation. So if I do this first one, I have y equals, I know I'm going to have x plus. So now I just need to look, what did they tell me my slope was? They said my slope is -4. So I know I'm going to put -4 here because m is always next to the x, and that's the slope. So they told me that it's -4. I'm just going to plug in -4. And then, whoops, click back one too many times. And then they told me that my y-intercept was 1. So I have +1. Now, if this was a -1, we would swap this plus sign for a negative. So you wouldn't say plus minus -1 like that. They wouldn't accept that in the answer. You'd want to take the plus sign out and just have -1. But in this case, it's a +1. So there we go. And that's exactly the same answer they have here. Y equals -4x plus 1. And that is all we're doing right now. So let's go ahead and click start. And I'm going to switch over to blue here. I know I'm going to start with y equals x plus. So if we have to change that plus, we will. But first, let's plug in. So we have write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line with y-intercept of -7 and slope of -3. So it tells us the slope is -1/3. I said -3. -1/3. Remember, slope is always next to the x. So I keep writing it in red here. They told us slope is -1/3. I just plug it in. Y-intercept, they tell me it's -7. So remember, I don't want, and I need to make this a little smaller here, otherwise I'll erase everything. So I don't want to leave this plus sign in when I type it in. I want to take that plus sign away because we want to put -7. Because otherwise it'll argue with you about, it won't understand what you want in there. So I have y equals, I hit the fraction bar to put 1. And I'm going to put -3. It doesn't matter where you put the negative. I know the negative is in between here. You can give the negative to the 1. You can give the -3. You could even put it out in front like this, and that would still be perfectly fine, just like that. So this just, you just have to make sure you're clicked out in front of it to put the negative here. But you could give it to the 1. You could give it to the 3. It really doesn't matter. And then we go x -7, and we click check. And that's it. All right, next. So let's go over here. I'm going to start out with my y equals x plus, and I'm going to switch to red for my slope. All right, so write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line with slope 4/3 and y-intercept -4. So they tell me slope is 4/3. I just plug it in next to the x, and slope is -4. I can write that, I swear. So again, I want to erase this plus sign. I don't want to put plus minus 4. It wouldn't know what the heck I was doing there, so you got to take it out. Okay, so I have 4, 3, x minus 4. Check. Yay. Right, next, this is our last one here. You notice I don't have a whole lot written on the screen. I've put all of the problems on this one page. I really haven't had to do very much. All we're doing is plugging some numbers in. So it says write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line with y-intercept of 1 and slope of 4. So I have a y-intercept, sorry, a slope of 4 and a y-intercept of 1. So I don't have to erase this plus sign because it's a positive 1. I do want a positive 1 there. So I have y equals 4x plus 1. And then I click check. Ta-da! All right, we're all done with that one.